And if you remember a couple of years ago, we were talking about this piece of legislation, the Genetic Technology Brackets Precision Breeding Bill. That's now an act. Charles has mentioned it on a number of occasions more recently. But of course, as we were mentioning last week or the week before, although this act has passed, it is not yet sort of enabled because it requires secondary legislation in order to enable it. Now, at the time that the act was passed, Joe Churchill, who was Minister for Agri-Innovation, said, this was in January 2022, new genetic technologies could help us tackle some of the biggest challenges of our age around food security, climate change and biodiversity loss. And of course, what she means by that is that because the UK government is busy shutting down the farming industry at the moment and converting productive land to wildflower meadow and so on, we are in a food security, a dangerous position with respect to food security. So they need to industrialize food production, and they're using this gene editing, this genetic technology in order to do that. So let's just remind ourselves what this was about. Removing plants and animals produced through precision breeding technologies from regulatory requirements, so take them out of the regulation regime. Introduce 2 notification systems. They haven't done that yet, as we've mentioned before. Establish a proportionate regulatory system for precision bred animals. So we need to make the point, this is not just about crops. This is also about animals. And establishing a new science-based authorization process for food and feed products derived from using precision-bred plants and animals. Now, they keep talking about precision breeding. And they've always said that gene editing is about precision breeding. It's about taking what happens naturally, or at least maybe not naturally, but through the selective breeding, that process that maybe in the past has taken months, if not years, if not decades, to produce significant changes in an organism, and accelerating that through genetic modification. But they're very careful to say that this is not genetic modification because no foreign genes end up in the resulting organism. They can use foreign genes from other organisms to encourage the genetic mutations, but those foreign genes or that foreign genetic material has to be removed. Again, that's their claim, at least. So why are we mentioning this again? Well, over the last few days, the World Agri-Tech conference has been taking place. It finished yesterday. Our minister responsible for food security was speaking at it and was saying that today we are introducing legislation to unlock precision breeding to boost Britain's food security, support nature's recovery and protect farmers from climate shocks. I believe that's almost the same words that his Tory party predecessor used, but nonetheless, they are now introducing this secondary legislation which will enable this act and will enable companies that are involved in messing about with organisms in this way to start marketing the final product to you and me. So whether you think this is a good idea or not, you might want to contact your MPs and maybe make them aware of how you feel about whether this legislation should pass. I mean, clearly there's very limited restriction on it passing with such a majority in the House of Commons at the moment, but it seems madness or dangerous. A whole lot of epithets could apply to that.
Well, I think the main thing is that it's an unknown, and it is another instance of the precautionary principle just being abandoned at will. So it's held on to when it suits the government, or indeed any power that seeks to change things, but it's discarded when convenient. And of course, the speeding up of the altering of genetic sequence, or however it exactly is conducted, no one knows what the outcome's going to be, and yet that's the bit that's never allowed to be debated. So yes, I mean, quite potential, a lot of potential for catastrophic outcomes, I would have said.
Absolutely. And